Hello, we hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news here on the Esports Talk channel. I hope you guys all enjoying. A huge thank you to all of you guys who've been subscribing to the channel. Over the past weekend, we did break 5,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you all enough, as well as our last CSGO video did break 30,000 views, and it just tremendous feedback from all of you guys. So I hope you guys all enjoy the show. Welcome back. There are plenty of stories today, some follow-up stories as well, thanks to that Optic India story, all of which will be timestamped down below in the description. But I hope you guys all enjoy. Let's get into our first one, though, all about, of course, former Optic member that's going to be Forsaken. There's been some follow-up updates about him, as well as the biggest investigation cheating wise in LAN history for CSGO. But first of all, I actually touched on this a little bit earlier as well. He has now received several threats out there in the Indian scene. Yet again, we have seen the Indian scene, whether it's either passionate or toxic, it's a mix of both, certainly, for sure, that we've compared to other scenes out there, but it's been a bit tremendous in response so far to what's happened. If you guys don't know the video, well, maybe search YouTube. It's all over the internet right now about this Optic member Forsaken, and more has come out about this. Apparently, he was actually threatened to be met at the airport as well upon arrival. There was other comments out there saying there was no way people could know which airport he would arrive at, and apparently, hopefully, nothing did happen. Alongside that, though, something that did happen, his Steam account was hacked. It was also overtaken by some troll out there. The troll even took to Facebook and said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to take your skins. I'm not going to get you back banned. I'm just going to take your Steam account for a while," which was a bit funny. At least he's a gentleman about hacking this account. Obviously not deserved, though, or I can't necessarily say deserve, but not legal for what he did there. So hopefully his account will be back eventually. As of right now, it's Forsaken deleting all of his social media, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. It's all gone, which does make a lot of sense, but it also shows you the severe backlash of this entire thing so far, and it might continue to get even worse for that team over there or the entire scene. As of right now, ESL India, they ran a Premiership LAN earlier this year as well, a smaller LAN event over in India. So just to preface that, it does make a little bit of sense as to why there might be more cheaters there, but apparently now the biggest investigation underway in CSGO cheating history. They are now investigating 20 players to possibly have cheated at that single event. And if this does reign to be true, even if a few of them are seen to be cheaters, this could be detrimental to the future of Indian CSGO. We already have this Optic, of course, Optic backing out. They gave the entire team the same punishment as the cheater, to releasing the entire roster within hours of Forsaken being caught, which I still think was one of the worst management decisions we've seen so far, because we still to this day have no full story, no full recap. If these players had no clue of his cheating, then why were they given the same punishment? Or if they did, then why would you come out and say they didn't know about it? Which, again, some conflicting point of views. I don't think we're going to see anything from these players or coaches for some time. I've already reached out to all of them. I've said publicly many times I will take any interviews with these guys to share their backstories. I've yet to have any response from them, guys, but thank you all for sharing these videos to actually try and get that word out there that I would interview any of them, any Optic management who want to talk about the issue. Alongside that, though, ESL India Premiership apparently investigating 20 players, and again, they're actually investigating their SSDs, because it now has been proven that yes, Forsaken was cheating at that LAN event as well. So I do apologize, I got that wrong in our first video about this. Of course, CSGO 2 Asia was their first premier event. It was not premier, but their first large LAN event he actually cheated at, but they did cheat, or he did cheat at least one LAN event before that as well. He got away with it, and that's maybe why he had the confidence to try and cheat as well at Extremes LAN 2018, which again is not a huge event. So, and maybe he expected some lower anti-cheats there, which eventually he of course was caught. So what the future of the Indian scene is going to be right now, I honestly I'm very worried about it. I do love the response so far. I've had many comments, many DMs about this from fans as well as friends of that team over there, and it's just been a difficult situation to try and analyze. But as of right now, ESL India is now underway an investigation of 20 players who could have been cheating from the Indian scene. But in bigger news and happier news, guys, XMS is now out of retirement for the first time in just about just over 2 months. Apparently, if you guys remember back late August, he announced the end, and he's still a very young player, of course, just 21 years old. He'd been enjoying Fortnite for a while, but apparently is now back for the minor qualifiers. You will not believe with who. I'm actually so excited to see these guys. I do believe in this roster, but when you look at minor qualification process, I guess to give you guys the roster itself, Scream, Kioshima, XMS, Nuki, and MAIKELELE, the mixed team themselves, guys. Swedish, French, I might be missing some cultures there, or some backgrounds, but still a very powerful roster in itself. But when you look at the minor qualification process, it is never easy, even for a top caliber or high-hitting roster like this itself. And again, they are a mixed team. They probably have not played together with these 5-mans ever before, so it's still going to be difficult. And especially, I think a player like MAIKELELE, it's great to see him have a chance at a minor qualifier yet again, but he definitely kind of pitches how hard these minor qualifiers are. You look at his history, guys, he's been at the last, or at least 2 minor qualifiers in the past 2 years. He went 0 for 4. Those are 4 attempts. You can actually try 4 times at these European minor qualifiers. 0 for 4 with Chaos Elementals roster. roster, and 0 for 4 with Dignitas as well as the Dignitas X roster. So I think the first time they tried was Dignitas roster. The next 3 times they tried was with X Dignitas roster. He is now 0 for 8 for his last European minor qualifiers, and that shows you how difficult they really are, because the first step of the process, I'm not sure exact numbers, but I know there are several best of ones. It's single elimination, so you can play any teams out there in the minor qualification process. They could even be cheating, maybe not even be caught. We never really know. It's several best of ones, then a couple best of 3s to actually qualify for those minors. It is not an easy road for these guys, but I'm very excited to see those guys play together. And imagine this though, if Kioshima and Scream are going to play with this team, that possibly means they have no offers even on the table from any big teams out there, which is really disappointing. Imagine another major without those guys. It's just sad to see some wasted talent out there in the Belgian and French scene with Kioshima and Scream. We'll see if they get signed or if this roster does make it. I think they'll be playing, according to Nuki, as the left out roster, which is very ironic. If you guys remember the ex-Envyus roster, they played as left out for quite some time. And speaking of ironic, guys, because if this roster does qualify for the major, or at least the minor or minor qualifiers, and get through that system itself, that's an accomplishment in itself. But you look at Envyus as well. I think we'll save it till Wednesday to talk about ESO Pro League standings as ECS standings. It's been shocking to see some teams out there like Ghost Gaming in second place in North America. And speaking of left out, or the current Envyus roster now in North America, they are 1-12 in North American Pro League. They are struggle bus. And also in bigger news out there, we've definitely seen over the past 2 to 3 years a lot of pro players coming out about injuries and health deterioration over the time of how much they've actually been playing CSGO. It can be very exhausting, and I love when players come forward about this because it offers some transparency as to how not so easy their lives can be. A player like Twistzz did come out last night. He's not asking for, your mercy or your tears. He made sure to clarify that, but I love his transparency and actually coming forward about how difficult it can be to be a pro player, especially right now in the CSGO scene. You look at teams like Liquid probably traveling for the past 6 months. Yes, you have your August. Yes, you have your December, maybe a few weeks, maybe a couple weeks in those months. The player break, which never really is a player break, and the Christmas break, which really isn't a Christmas break because the majors are usually early 2019. So you got to be pracking. It's pretty crazy to see teams like NRG. They had 30 matches last week. 30 matches in a 7-day span. So it's not necessarily surprising to see many of these players struggling, like Twistzz himself. He said he's now taking medication 2 to 3 times a day, pills 2 to 3 times a day, just to try and get better. A lot of struggles with taking in foods. We had Guardian and Olaf Meister come out about this. I think it was over a year ago now, with their serious injuries because they just never had time to heal them up. We also had players like Get Right, his serious stomach issues, along with Device. So it makes a lot of sense that there are probably many other pro players out there not coming forward about this stuff, but I wish the best for Twistzz, guys. He is apparently not doing so well health-wise, and his schedule is not going to slow down here anytime soon. ECS, ESL, I haven't checked the epicenter teams right now, but IEM Chicago. Then we have the major. These pros are going to be exhausted. And also in CSGO news, I'm not going to touch too much about this, but I would love to hear your comments about this down below. What you guys think? I don't watch too many FPL streamers or CSGO streamers in general, at least not extensively. I watch Jason R occasionally, but not really too many pros, unless there's pro players who come off the circuit for a short amount of time for like a random stream here and then. But FPL drama out there, thanks to Face It Mikey actually announcing last night a brand new player list of kicks as well as on trials. He did announce that Jason R is now currently on trial. If you are on trial, that means pretty much if you don't improve in a short period of time or get better feedback from other pro players in FPL, you will be kicked down to FPLC or FPL Challenger. Alongside that though, it's now Sam and Obo who have been kicked from FPL, but it was actually shortly afterwards. We had Sam posting about this, kind of a sappy post about, of course, how hard he tried about this, as well as Obo posting about it. Many pro players responded, and within a few hours it was actually Obo, thanks to the popularity contest. It was negative feedback a few hours previously which got him kicked, and it was positive feedback from the same pros, I think, that reconvened for some reason that actually put him back into FPL on trial. So he is now back on trial. Jason R is on trial. Sam has officially been kicked down to FPLC, which I think he lost his first few matches in. I feel bad for the not necessarily tinier, but the smaller streamers out there, because it makes a lot of people question, is this a popularity contest, right? Does it come down to your actual in-game skill or just the community feedback of how much these players actually like you? Of course, Sam and Obo do stream. Jason R streams. We have Tarek stream as well. I think Tarek, notoriously known as a troll, and plays the game more casually, but you don't necessarily know, how well do they test the skill as well. It's a big question mark. I'm not trying to call out anyone as well. I'm just very curious what it comes down to. Is it just community vote? Is it because the same guys who voted Obo out now voted him back in? Is it just kind of a sway heavy thing where one day if you want to kick someone, they can be kicked? If one day you want them back in, they're back in. It's a very confusing thing, causing a bit of a rift out there in the comment section. So I love a response from you guys, what you think about the situation. Hopefully Sam can work his his way back in. Hopefully Jason R and Obo can survive in, and that's just FPL stuff. Third-party service drama. And also, very lastly, in some full circle news out there, which I'm sure you guys are some mean commenters out there. I'm sure a lot of you guys would love to see this downgrade. I'm going to call it a downgrade because I'm not really sure the future of Red Reserve. Thanks to VP Esports, though, apparently it will be Red Reserve signing Draken, which does make a bit of sense. You know, the ex-Godsent roster, they've been, of course, a Swedish team for quite some time now. I'm surprised how long this roster did actually survive, actually here on Red Reserve, given their historic presence with teams. Alongside that, though, if they don't manage to qualify for the major qualifier this time around or any big tournament sometime soon, I'm not sure how long this roster will last, but Draken apparently is going to join that roster sometime soon. If you guys remember, Red Reserve also lost their two best players, young 16-year-old Brawlin as well as Twistzz. Both went to Fnatic, and again, I'm very surprised these guys are still sticking around. We'll see results-wise how they do. I'm just not sure about their future, but I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, or as well as Wednesday, breaking down ESL Pro League results as well as ECS results, and hopefully some more CSGO news. As always, thank you all for watching, all the great comments. I'm going to try and reply to comments down today if I have time, but I hope you guys all enjoy. As always, my name is Jake. I'll see y'all next time. Okay, bye.